Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your hosts Edward McQueen and April Garner.
Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the World Community Magazine Live, right here on Facebook and YouTube, and our website, wcmagazine.net. I'm your co-host, Ed McQueen, of course, to my left, my right. Other co-host, Ms. April Garner. She's Miss WCM Live.
You know what? Maybe we need to have a Miss WCM Live pageant. Maybe we need to. We may need to do that. You know.
But they won't have your qualities, though. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
I appreciate.
All right. Good evening, everybody. So. hey. Speaking of qualities, our guest today. Yeah, he's representing some quality that just took place over the weekend. Wow, congratulations to these guys.
Yes, huge congratulations.
Man. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we're on a more serious note, but we're gonna intertwine with some comedy in here at the same time to make you smile a little bit about the accomplishments of the entity that our guest is going to be representing. But today we're still in education. Last week we dealt with our sister Janet, and she gave us some good information that people used to normally charge for. Okay, regarding college admissions protocol advantages of following certain protocol, and some opportunities out there that you can't say enough about. Okay, she had them, and I think she had some more to talk about. But due to the interest of time, so we'll have her back on again at another time. So in the meantime, today, April, we're going to talk continue on with educational part, and this time we're going straight to our flagship university in Horry County. None other than what?
Coastal Carolina University.
CCU. CCU. All right. And representing CCU today is our special guest, Mr. Travis Overton. He's the Vice President for Executive Initiative and the Chief of Staff of Coastal Carolina University. Chief of Staff under the president, the newly not elected president, but a president that was just installed. Yeah, lack of a better word, installed. Dr. Benson. So, without further ado, let's see what Coastal Carolina University has to offer today with our representative, Mr. Travis. Yeah, I want everybody to know. Just want to get go. We're talking with, from what I know about this gentleman, he's a very nice gentleman. Always been very cordial. We see each other on the street. You know, it's like we've known each other for years and years, and that's an opportunity that you don't want to give up on. And I treasure people like that. So welcome to the program, Travis.
Thank you so much for having me and the opportunity to join you all this evening.
Yeah, we're we're glad to see see what. Well, first of all, congratulations. Well, you and your crew. I'm gonna call it your crew, yeah.
Well, let me share.
Liberty Bowl.
Let me share a secret. The Cure Bowl win this past weekend had nothing to do with me, and was all credit to the amazing football program under the coaching of Coach Chadwell, the amazing team that he has to provide leadership. So congratulations to them and the hard work that those young men and all the individuals associated with the program work to put in to represent us in that way.
Yeah, well, we appreciate those accolades, but since you're representing CCU, I mean, you're part of all of that. Okay,
And
and
very
and
and very proud to be.
yeah, again, so the initiatives I'm sure had something to do with in one way or the other that program. Okay, your the initiatives that you're going to talk about today at CCU. So why don't we allow our audience to get a good bio of yourself? Could you afford that to us?
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. Um, well, again, thank you so much for the opportunity to spend this evening with you all. I am beyond honored to be a member of Teal Nation at Coastal Carolina University. I have been on staff at Coastal for 14 years. I joined Coastal Carolina staff in 2007, and I originally started out providing leadership for our fraternity and sorority life program on campus. I served in that capacity for a few years and then transitioned to lead our student conduct office, which worked with student behavior management for our campus, and then transitioned to become dean of students. And then the sitting president at that point, Dr. David DeCenzo, who is a personal mentor and friend of mine, actually introduced me to the opportunity to move into this role in 2018. And that is this Vice President for Executive Initiatives and Chief of Staff, where I have the opportunity to supervise a portfolio of offices on campus in a vice presidential administrative role. And then my day-to-day operational role serves as Chief of Staff within the Office of the President, providing support and help as we're working through things across the campus on behalf of the Office of the President, and oftentimes the opportunity to work directly with our Board of Trustees, external constituents to the university, as well as working to partner and correspond with individuals who may contact the Office of the President on behalf of our President, Michael T. Benson.
Yeah, I really took note of you one time, I think, and you were the moderator for the celebration of the retirement of, or not retirement, but the naming of the hall. Was at Singleton Hall, and I was impressed, really, impressed the way it went, as smooth as it went, and kudos to your efforts on that. Uh, and
Well,
I was
thank
just
you.
glad. Yeah.
That was an amazing event. That was the naming of Singleton Young Hall, which is named after Mrs. Patricia Singleton Young. Individuals who have matriculated through the walls of Coastal Carolina know her as Miss Pat. For several years, served as Director of Multicultural Student Services. Prior to that, and during that time, served to provide support for university housing, counseling, student activities, new student transitions. She was a formidable leader on our campus for over 35 years.
Wow.
And she also serves as the first person of color to have a building at Coastal Carolina named after her as well. And so that was a momentous and historic opportunity to be able to be a part of that. And throughout Miss Pat's last few years at Coastal Carolina, I had the opportunity to serve as her requisite vice president, in which the area in which her department's at. We were able to work together as she was working towards retirement. But we owe a lot at Coastal Carolina to Miss Pat. She is a formidable force on that campus and impact a lot of students' lives. And there are many students that will tell you that without their interaction and time with Miss Pat, that their journey through Coastal Carolina may not have been the same.
Yeah, that was really expressed at her retirement, the function that you all had for her, and in fact, I hadn't known her before then, but we moved forward and had her, and we had her as the cover page on our magazine uh, immediately as a result of that some time ago, and kudos to her again. So. Do you want to talk about the some of the initiatives that are foregoing at Coastal Carolina University for the community, or do you want the bragging rights for the for the chancellors?
Now, Mr. McQueen, we have talked about this, and it is the Chanticleers.
Cleveland, right?
It is the Chanticleers, and we are the proud Chanticleers. And we like to we are named after a literary creature from the Canterbury Tales, and we are excited about being that teal Chanticleer that boasts itself all throughout our campus. But the opportunity, absolutely, to be able to talk about initiatives that we are doing are something that I would appreciate the opportunity to, in the time that I've been at Coastal Carolina, I have been incredibly impressed by how committed this campus is to not only growing as a campus and developing as a campus, but also working to continuously find ways to engage the community. And some of those ways in which community engagement has occurred, Mr. McQueen, we appreciate the opportunity as Coastal Carolina to be able to advertise in the magazine and be able to be a part of that this past year. And we look forward to being able to, as a university, explore that opportunity in the magazine next year as well. As you and I have discussed, that's an amazing opportunity that we want to make sure that we're connecting with the community at Coastal Carolina. Additionally, some of the things that we work specifically, each of our colleges, there are several academic colleges on campus, and each of those colleges has different initiatives that work specifically in the community based on their expertise and academic focus. And so each of those colleges kind of works to intertwine with the community in a different way. And so we are constantly working to develop that. So some of the examples I would provide right now are specifically a partnership out of the Spadoni College of Education and Social Sciences, which is the Call Me Mr. program. The Call Me Mr. program is a program that I'm sure you all have heard about and familiar with. I know that April has. And so through that program, this is a program that is preparing young Black men to be teachers in the classroom and create an experience throughout their academic journey and attaining their educational degrees that they are prepared to be teachers in the classroom. But what's really unique is, as a part of that program, those students also have a requirement to complete service hours as part of their journey in the Call Me Mr. program. Our partners right across the street, who we enjoy the opportunity to partner with at Horry Georgetown Technical College, also has a Call Me Mr. program, and oftentimes Coastal Carolina Call Me Mr. program and Horry Georgetown Tech will work together to be able to do projects and connect in that way. I have served on the advisory team for the Call Me Mr. program over the last few years, so I've been able to interact directly with those students and see the ways in which they are mentoring in the schools and creating a connection with those middle school students, the critical age that we know it to be in middle school, to be able to allow those students to be able to see college students, and particularly men of color who are in the schools and working to interact with them. We have found a lot of success. The Call Me Mr. program is based out of Clemson, and so therefore South Carolina based. It's based on different campuses, and we found a lot of success with students that are working to graduate from that program and then go into the school system, because there are incentives for those students once they finish the program and go through and start teaching in South Carolina specifically. So it works to feed the economic growth of the state of South Carolina with those students being fed into the program. Undoubtedly, you've already mentioned the Cure Bowl. Listen, here's a reality. Some people talk specifically about the role that athletics plays on a college campus. But we know that economically for our community, having the opportunity to have top-notch athletic programs creates a space and an opportunity for individuals to come and enjoy the games, spend family time, whether they're tailgating or at the game, and be able to be in that space and be together and create that fellowship, and particularly to create that fellowship on the college campus. And so oftentimes when we're thinking about athletics, we're talking about what role athletics plays, but individuals have to understand that this past weekend, Coastal Carolina saw national exposure from our team being at the Cure Bowl and winning the Cure Bowl, may I add. And
Mhm.
so, as a result, that is a huge community impact that not only broadens the reach of Coastal Carolina University, but also broadens the reach for Conway, South Carolina. Because in
Absolutely.
each of those moments, we as a university are continuing to express that we are housed and home. Our home is Conway, South
Is it
Carolina, in Horry
Conway?
County.
Yeah,
That's right, Conway.
that's right.
Hmm.
Con your way in and con your way out. So, uh, yeah. Thanks for that elaboration and our narrative on the some of those initiatives, Travis. Now, speaking of engaging the community, do you the Congress just passed, I think not too long ago, as part of the one of the bills was a free tuition. Now, was that just applicable to 2-year colleges, or um, how does CCU fit into that? Has CCU
Sure.
um, made any effort to collaborate with that, or to take advantage of that?
Sure. It's a great question. I have to look specifically back at the piece of legislation in order to follow it and make the direct connection. However, at this time, Coastal Carolina is not a part of a free tuition offering for students. And again, that specific legislation you're speaking to, I'd have to pull that to be able to speak directly to what our relationship could be down the road relative to that. Now, we know that nationally there's been a continued conversation about the debt that college students incur when going through college. And so there has been ongoing conversation about how to reduce that debt and find ways to ensure that students are able to attain higher education. And my president says it the best, President Benson, when he talks about the fact that education is that gateway to be able to allow individuals to be able to grow and learn, and to be able to create access to education is critical. And so there's continued conversation about ways in which that access can be expanded. For us at Coastal, for the last few years, we have held our tuition flat and not created any increases. Now, Coastal, as an overall funding source, Coastal, a majority of our budget, operational budget, is from tuition. Based on where we are, our funding from the state is less than 10% of our overall funding of the university budget. So as a result, we do rely on tuition as far as an operational institution from where we are. But we have worked to ensure that where those opportunities exist for us to be able to remain flat in our dollars as far as tuition or housing or fees, that we try to find those opportunities to do that. But we know that this is a continued conversation. We are not, as an institution, blind to that, nor are we in the business to create debt for individuals. So we are consistently working to look at ways in which students can fund their college experience through scholarships or through work study programs or student employment programs that are funded by the institution, to be able to help them pay their way through college to help reduce that debt as much as possible.
No, yeah. You can jump in anytime you want to, April. Um, when we had Dr. Benson on, I think, and he may have answered but this upcoming question here, but when you're reaching out to the community, um, especially the underserved community, for making sure that not just engagement, but making sure that they have opportunities to attend Coastal Carolina University. And even if they're financially incapable of doing so. Is there anything in place right now? Has there been something some time ago or in place where you specifically look for those underserved communities to target and make sure that they are not missing out on an opportunity to get a degree at Coastal?
Sure. So I think some of the key components in which this is addressed is the outreach that the university works to do within several communities surrounding both the campus and outside of the campus. Our admissions office, which is under our enrollment management part of the institution, works specifically to identify areas and be present in those areas to be able to talk about what going to college looks like, how to be able to prepare for it, and how to be able to explore the financial assistance programs that might be a part of pursuing college. So that being, of course, the FAFSA, which is a federal process that students participate in, or scholarships and funds that are local to the institution that might be available for students. On top of that, Mr. McQueen, one of the other key things, we're very excited at Coastal to have a interim vice president for advancement and alumni engagement. And that team member works to continuously raise funds for the institution, and portions of those funds also go towards scholarships that are available to students to be able to pursue college as well. So it's a strategic process working specifically with our enrollment management office, which is our admissions office, and then being able to see where are those opportunities in the scholarship programs that we have to be able to make sure that as we're talking to those students, that many of them, depending on their background and family situation, may not be exposed to college. They may not be familiar with how to navigate FAFSA. And so access, of course, means more than just having the money, but it means having the awareness to be able to figure out how to navigate that. And so our admissions office being able to be in the underserved communities where we know that based on numbers that may be a more prevalent case, and making sure that we're educating and providing information is key. The second part is understanding that earlier point in which we do that. So oftentimes there may be a student who their senior year says, okay, I'm ready to start thinking about college. Well, part of our challenge there is that if in the senior year a student is beginning to think about college, they may not have been on a track during their high school years that allows them to be able to take advantage of the best possible financial options that are available for them. And so being able to touch base in that middle school or first part of high school point so that students are able to think about their pathway potentially to be able to have access to those scholarships, those grants, those funds that are available to them is key. And again, that goes back to our enrollment management team, working to be able to create that strategy where there is regular interaction at college fairs, at community-based events, and talking to potential students about where those opportunities are. And right now, they're doing a great job of continuing to do that. Our underserved population at Coastal is something that we continuously focus on, particularly our first generation students, our minority students, and making sure that we can create a space into where moving into that collegiate environment is something they're able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. April, you want to say something, April?
Well, I have a couple of topics I want to touch on. And since you're on the topic of how to reach those communities or segments of the population that may be underserved or underrepresented, let's kind of pivot a little bit and talk about, your local versus your national appeal. And I've received a text and I've heard it said that, once upon a time, coastal Carolina was more of was seen more as a locals college. And now with the national attention, the fact that your college or your university actually attracts a lot of students from out of state, there's a perception that CCU has kind of gotten away from that local appeal and has become more of a out of state student type of a college. What would you say to that statement as far as the perception of CCU and its impact on the local student population?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. Yes, the numbers are out there that say that support that Coastal is 49% out of state, 50% in-state, 1% international, based on our overall numbers, the last numbers that were run. And so there is one key thing that I will say. Coastal Carolina will not decline the admission of a qualified in-state student. Point blank. If a qualified South Carolina student applies at Coastal Carolina and meets our admission standards that are in place, there is not a selection process to say, oh, well, we've got a cap or we stop. There's not. So local students are always on the admission roster for Coastal Carolina. And April, that's a great question because as we've begun to shift and there is this national exposure for this institution, we know that the national exposure creates interest on the national level. And we don't intend on changing that at all about our open admission for South Carolina students in that way to be able to apply to the institution. Secondly, because we know that the national exposure has kind of created this different pipeline over the years, it is really important for us, both in our presence, in our advertising, in our marketing, and in our reach, to make sure that we are focusing on our local community. As part of one of the areas that I supervise, I also supervise university marketing communication. And over the last few years, we have specifically focused on a message to be able to talk to our local students about being able to come to Coastal. Because here's what we hear. What we hear from local students is, I don't want to go to school where I live. I want to move away and not go to school where I actually live and grew up. And so what we have worked to do is kind of shift our message to say that where you are working to get to, wherever you decide is the target for you, we can get you there at Coastal. And that is whether or not you live in Horry County or outside of Horry County, still in South Carolina, or outside of South Carolina. But our goal has been to remind our local families and students that Coastal can be a choice for you, even if it is your hometown university, maybe where you grew up down the road, that we still want to be a place that our South Carolina and particularly our Horry County students choose to be able to pursue higher education.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's important, that you continue to create that awareness of the local impact and the fact that your recruitment is intentional from the local base because you don't want to lose that connectivity to, the local environment. And especially when it comes down to the natural pipelines of students who are coming out of Horry County and Georgetown County schools. And, even up the street, basically, like you said, when I think about our natural student base, I always even include Marion and Florence and, other areas. And as a matter of fact, because of the statewide appeal as well, it's really kind of boundless when it comes down to how far out you can extend that reach.
That's
but
right.
from the local standpoint, because it is the hometown college, and I'm sure you all want students in Horry and Georgetown County pipeline to feel particularly proud about the possibility of becoming a Chanticleer. That's definitely something that is on people's radars as far as, whether or not there are going to be any initiatives that will actually kind of incentivize the local students to stay in Horry County and Georgetown County to attend Coastal Carolina University. So has anything like that ever crossed the table, or has it been a topic of discussion?
Yes, it has. It's a continuing topic of discussion, ways in which incentivizing students to say, I want to stay here. Listen, this is a super unique story for me because I am from Nashville, Tennessee, and when my mother remarried, we moved to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and anyone who knows about Murfreesboro knows it's the home of Middle Tennessee State University, which currently boasts an undergraduate population of almost 30,000, and I lived within walking distance of Middle Tennessee State University. However, I did not go to Middle Tennessee State University. And why did I not go to Middle Tennessee State University? Because that university was around the corner from the house. That is why I did not go. And so I chose to hike an hour and a half up the road to University of Tennessee at Chattanooga because it gave me distance. And what I hear specifically from people is they oftentimes want to think about distance from being from where they are. And so what we work to do is to challenge, yes, individuals to think about ways in which Coastal can actually expand their thought process. But here's the thing. one reality is many individuals who have also talked about that they don't choose coastal have never even been on campus before.
Wow.
And so oftentimes one of the things that we work to do is spend time with our local community, inviting them into campus, because we've heard so many of our local students who will say, wow, once I was on campus, I didn't even realize that it could feel like I'm not even still home, from being on campus. And so that's been a part of our goal, is to be able to expose our local students more to the campus so that they can understand that being here and being in this area, even though you may be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour and a half from home, that they still can have a full college experience, because that's what we hear is some of the students, and particularly in my role prior as dean of students, I heard this a lot, is students would say, I don't know if I can have the full college experience because my family's just right up the road. And once they got here and saw how rich and vibrant their experience can be just right here in the area, it created kind of a different perspective for them. But to your question, I apologize, or to your question about
No, you're fine.
incentivizing, it is a continued part of our conversation of what is the incentive that allows a person to say, I'm choosing here because it's local, because it's home, and because I want to be a part of where Coastal Carolina's changed a lot over the years. And so a student being able to be a part of that is where we want to also see how we can help students see themselves as part of our campus.
Absolutely. Brother Edward, I'd like to go to commercial break to give Travis a chance to catch his breath. He's given us a lot of great information, and there are also some great comments that I want to share. And a couple of other topics that I'd like to get into, Travis, just to kind of put it on your radar when we come back from the commercial break. The handling of COVID, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and then also faculty and staff recruitment, which I know are three really big things for your university. So we're going to go to a commercial break and come right back and hear some more about CCU with Travis Overton. Love it. Love it. Great information. We'll be right back. We are back with Travis Overton. Travis Overton, CCU VP of Executive Initiatives and Chief of Staff. That's an inside joke. And Travis and I have an amazing story behind that, but we won't share that this evening. We'll not share that this evening. But anywho, thank you all for joining us tonight. It's such a
Yeah.
pleasure to have you. We're having a great conversation with Mr. Overton from CCU, fresh off of a bowl win, the Cure Bowl. The Chanticleers brought it home for Conway, South Carolina. We
Yes,
really
they
do.
did.
Yes, congratulations. Really do appreciate that. I just want to share some of the comments that are and questions that have come in. First of all, we'd like to thank Vonda Cookie Vandross Brown. She is a Conway native, but she resides in Columbia, South Carolina, and she's listed some, really good comments and a couple of great questions here, and also has encouraged her sister Laura Pepper Vandross McFadden to join this conversation tonight since her son is interested in attending Coastal. So thank you so much, Vonda. We really do appreciate it. And I'm going to post her question real quick. What tools do you use to reach our Black men in the Conway community for the opportunity through the program at Coastal to pursue a career in the teaching field? Do you go out to high schools? And you've already kind of explained that. And of course, with the Call Me Mr. program as well. So I don't know if you'll be able to speak on it tonight in detail, but if you can, talk a little bit about African American male recruitment in the education field. Have you seen an uptick in that at Coastal? And are there any plans to heighten the initiative through the Call Me Mr. program?
There absolutely are, and I have to. First of all, thank you so much, Vonda, for the question. And the irony is, as we are on this interview, there are three people in the other room meeting right now to talk about our African American Initiative for Men. There are four of us that are advisors for the African American Initiative for Men on campus, which is a retention tool for African American male students. So it's not as heavy on the recruitment opportunity, but it's more so on the retention of our current students. And the four of us serve as advisors, and we are having a meeting this evening to talk about the planning of next semester. So speaking to that question from the recruitment end, there are absolutely continued strategies that are being deployed in order to place Coastal Carolina on the minds of, number one, all students, but then also specifically thinking about our students that may benefit from the Call Me Mr. program. The Call Me Mr. program was a program that was brought to Coastal Carolina in order to be able to recruit talented men of color to be a part of that program and matriculate into the teaching field to get those students into the classroom. And to your question, April, there's absolutely the hope and goal to continue to broaden that program and the reach of that program. They already do go into high schools and talk about the program in high schools, but the goal is to continue to find other ways in which that outreach can be created to kind of spark the interest of Coastal Carolina and hopefully encourage those students to apply for Coastal Carolina as they're seeing themselves here. So I don't know if that fully answers that question, but that is most definitely, going back to the Call Me Mr. program, is most definitely one of the strongest assets that we have in that.
All right, awesome. And Priscilla Fuller, who is a proud supporter of WCM Live and World Community Magazine. Mr. Overton, thank you for sharing this information. We've recently seen an influx of seniors in this area. What opportunities are you offering seniors at a reduced or free tuition to attend various programs at CCU?
That's a great question, Ms. Fuller. Thank you so much. As a university, a couple of things. Number one, our OLLI program, which is the Osher Lifelong Learning program, has been kind of revitalized on our campus. During the pandemic, we made some changes as we were moving through programmatically, but it has been revitalized, which creates educational programs for our seniors in the community. That program has actually, part of their marketing was in the World Community Magazine as well, to be able to tell individuals about those program offerings on our campus. One particular thing that I will note for our community members that identify as seniors is specifically the fact that the state of South Carolina has a law that essentially states that seniors can attend classes free of charge. And so there is an opportunity for those individuals to be able to audit and experience those classes through that opportunity that they can participate in. And so that is a component that we encourage our seniors seniors to explore with us, they can contact our admissions office, and then they can apply for a non-degree seeking application and go through that process. Additionally, each of our programs that we offer, whether it be cultural events, whether it be sporting events, whether it be entertainment, whether it be educational in nature, has a component to where there's a reduced rate that we look at for our seniors. And so our seniors are definitely encouraged to participate in our campus and in the ways in which they are most comfortable in participating, to be able to be a part of Teal Nation in their chosen way. So those are some of the examples that come off to mind to Ms. Fuller's question of where we want to make sure we engage. And Ms. Fuller, I hope that answers your question, and thank you for reaching out about that question.
So can they find out more information about these types of programs through the college's website?
Yes, absolutely. So depending on which, so if they're looking at going for classes, as I mentioned, they would work through the admissions office if they're looking at taking the classes. If the OLLI program, which again are specific program sessions for our senior population, all you have to do on our website is type in OLLI, which is OLLI, and that will take you to information about the OLLI program. For particular events, when you go to Coastal's website, there's a calendar at the top. You can click that calendar and you can see all the different events. And when you click into each event, it will tell you the options that there are for different populations to be able to attend an event.
Okay, awesome. So want to kind of move into a couple of other topics. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I know that there are some initiatives on campus to make sure that there's a heightened awareness of your DEI practices on campus and the outreach into the community. So what are you doing at CCU to ensure that there are equitable opportunities for students, faculty, and staff, and how do you handle, or who's handling DEI on your campus?
Sure. Absolutely. Thanks for that question. Our board made a commitment in collaboration with our strategic plan that was in place from 2016 to 2021. We're in the process right now of rewriting a new strategic plan under President Benson. However, when our board made that commitment and agreed, we committed that we would hire a chief diversity officer on our campus. I have the opportunity to take our campus through what I call our campus readiness process. What we did is on our campus, we engaged a national expert in diversity, equity, and inclusion. His name is Dr. Damon Williams. Dr. Williams literally, oftentimes they say, go to who wrote the book. He literally wrote the book on chief diversity officers on college campuses. Dr. Williams did. And so Dr. Williams came and he spent 2 different days with us. Day one, he spent time with our administrators across campus as well as our campus as a whole, working to talk about the role of a diversity officer on the campus so that people were not getting their expectations. People believe when they think about diversity, equity, inclusion, they think that having a diversity officer now is going to solve all that. We just push it to that person, right? But what he wanted to challenge our community to think about is how it is the community's job to forward the cause of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And yes, we may have an expert who's in place there to be able to look at things, but it is the community's job to do that. And after we did that campus readiness, we then went through a search process. And through that search process, we were able to bring on a fantastic colleague, Dr. Atia Stokes-Brown. She is our Vice President for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And in her time here, she has led us in an all-campus climate survey. She has developed for our campus an Access, Inclusion, and Diversity Council, which is regularly working to evaluate our campus for components in which we can make sure that we're moving forward in the areas of diversity, equity, and inclusion. She's also partnered to bring on a professional to our campus to work with our faculty to ensure inclusive pedagogy. And so there is an individual that's now on her second time of coming to us, Dina Samuel, who has done a lot of work in this area, who has come and spent time helping our faculty develop a curriculum and a syllabus that is reflective of inclusive practices in what they're working to do to deliver the end product. And so those are just a few of the examples. Now, on January 22nd on our campus, Dr. Stokes Brown, as well as the College of Humanities and Fine Arts and the Office of the President, as part of the Presidential Signature Series, will be bringing to the campus Melissa Harris Perry to speak on our campus at 6 o'clock that evening. And
Wow.
the community is invited to come and see her. She is a tremendous thought
Wow.
leader, and we are very, very excited to see her come to campus on January 22nd at 6 p.m.
That is awesome. And, everything that you described, the first word that came to my mind is intentional. It's great that you're being intentional about the DEI practices and initiatives. And, there are a lot of colleges and universities that have yet to step up to the intentional plate. And so that's really good. And of course, it's exciting that you have Melissa Harris Perry coming to the area. Very exciting indeed. So, when it comes down to the handling of COVID and the Omicron variant, I know that it's been difficult to manage and navigate that, and it's still constantly changing. So, what protocols do you have in place to protect your students, faculty, and staff?
Sure, great question. Thank you. We are so fortunate on our campus that we have an emergency management director on our campus. Her name is Carissa Medeiros. And Carissa serves as the lead when working to address emergency related functions on our campus. So when COVID hit, at that point, we automatically began our processes to mitigate COVID in what we were doing. And so throughout this time, I think anybody who's working in any field can talk about how difficult managing COVID has been. And it has been an absolute difficult task. However, I commend our colleagues, our faculty, staff, and our students for staying committed to working to make the place as normal as possible through some of the most abnormal times in which they've been able to function. And so through that, what we have focused on, we did have a mask mandate on campus to be able to work to require masks. We most recently have shifted that to being a high recommendation of wearing masks. As the campus, our committees, we have regular committees that are working to evaluate the numbers both on campus as well as in the community to be able to determine how we need to mitigate COVID. So our committees are continuing to work and meet on a regular basis to determine any actions in our community that need to change. We are continuing our COVID call center on campus, which is a extended hour call center for anyone who is facing COVID or dealing with COVID to be able to call in and work to get answers and response. That team is staffing the phones on a regular basis to be able to answer questions while this emergency management protocol is still continuing to operate. When we come back, as we're dealing with the Omicron variant and what challenges it's presenting, when we come back to campus, we will then begin to look at the stats and the information to determine what we need to do as a campus. But for us, it is a constant process. It is not something where we just met once and said, here's the one thing we need to do and we're done. It is a constant evolving circular process that we go through on the campus, and our committee meets as an executive team every 2 weeks, and that includes our president, that includes our provost, that includes our CFO, that includes all of our administrators at the top level to be involved in this conversation about what's happening across the campus and make those decisions based on the data, the research, and the impact on our campus.
Yeah. So, I know everyone is watching the Omicron variant closely, and hopefully the vaccinations, boosters will be a part of that mitigation of the spread of the virus. And but at the same time, it's still a very highly contagious variant. And, with the turn of the holidays and then the return to spring sessions, hopefully everyone will be very careful so that we won't have to go back into a virtual situation. But, are you 100% in person now? Or are you still doing hybrid courses, or does it just depend on whatever the course or the case is at the moment?
Sure. So as a campus, because of our online offerings, we're never 100%. But however, we have returned to the online versus in-person mix that we were at prior to COVID. And so therefore, our in-person offerings are back up to that same level as of now. You're exactly right. We have encouraged vaccines. We have a Vax to the Max program, which is a incentivized program for students to submit proof of their vaccine, for students, faculty, and staff to be able to submit proof of their vaccine to the campus. And so we've worked our vice president for student success, enrollment management, and student affairs has worked very hard to make sure that that information is out and about. And we will continue to evaluate this. So do we know exactly what January looks like? Well, today, as of December 20th, we anticipate to return back at our same mix of in-person and online as we have this fall. If we meet in 2 weeks after the holiday, that could be a different answer, and we would present that to our board and get the support from our board to make the decision that is going to be most conducive to safety for our campus.
Well, Travis, I'm going to pull up the CCU website now so that everybody can kind of get a little preview of, Teal Nation. So I'm just going to kind of scroll through a few things. What are some highlights that you want people to pay attention to on this website, and places they can go for pertinent information?
Absolutely. Well, the first place I would say is what you've come up there is graduation. And I must pause and say that anybody who works at a higher education institution looks forward to graduation. And it's a bittersweet moment because there are students that you've gotten close to that are leaving you, but it's being able to see them realize their dream. And so we just finished graduation last week, and that's what those pictures are. But specifically, April, to your question about COVID, over to the right of that website near the graduation picture, that is the regular place in which we update information about COVID on our campus. So at any time, if someone's wondering about our campus and trying to figure out specifically how to find out information about COVID, that is the place for them to go. One of the other critical points that I always point to when people are looking at our website is that simple search bar right there above the graduation picture that says My Search. A person using that has the ability to type in whatever key question they have, and it's gonna move them through that component of what they're needing to find out there. If you scroll down, we operate as a campus to be able to create general information for our campus and our provost. That is that dialogue with Dr. Ennis. If you're ever wondering about something that's happening on our campus and trying to examine what we may be doing, Dr. Ennis does those Facebook Live events once a week, every Tuesday at 4 o'clock. And families and students and visitors are able to join and learn more about our campus. And then down on the left, that's going to give you general information about our operations anytime we're having major operational changes. And then to the right, that's focused towards our students. A lot of times individuals are asking, what do you offer students? And that is focused towards being able to provide that for them. If you go back up to the top, the only other place, if you're interested in those local students that are considering now that Coastal is where they want to be because they know they cannot be anything else but a Chanticleer because that's what they want to be, up at the top, that apply now is always going to take you to admissions. And to Ms. Fuller's question about seniors earlier, that same section is going to take and provide you information for seniors that may be looking to take classes or get information about taking classes there as well. And the last thing I'll note is that visit button. Again, as I mentioned, so many people in Horry County have not been able to come over to campus and actually spend time. And so I encourage people to utilize that visit button, schedule a tour, come by and see us. The campus is an open campus. We love to see people on campus and welcome you into Teal Nation.
Do you have a virtual on your website? Do you have a virtual tour?
It's components of it's not a full virtual tour, but it does give you opportunity to be able to see different parts of campus through going through that website, which take you over to admissions. This part, April, that you're looking at gives you general numbers about the institution. A lot of people wonder how it feels to be in the classroom. We have a 17-to-1 student to faculty ratio, awesome. So it gives you that number. 17 is a great number to be in classes with when you're looking at it. And if you're ever wondering whether or not Coastal offers a specific major, where it says that 100 plus, we do have over 100 programs, but you can click right below that if someone wanted to go there, and they'd be able to find the list of majors here on campus as well. And then to your question, Mr. McQueen, down at the bottom, experience the CCU campus, you can either click there to schedule a visit or take the virtual tour, which does give you components of campus that you're able to see as you're navigating.
Yeah,
Well, I tell you, it's a beautiful campus. It really is, and you're doing an amazing job there, Travis. And um, as Vonda says, great conversation. She's going to share this with her sister. Have a great
Thank you,
night.
Vonda.
Yes, and there's one question I want to ask that's a little bit more personal in nature. What's your favorite part of being a part of Teal Nation?
Oh, wow. Thank you. The students. The students. The students. That's literally, I mean, to be able to spend time with individuals who have a dream in their mind to want to move forward and achieve something, and they come here to this institution to allow this institution to be part of that journey and allow themselves to grow and want to grow. Our alma mater at Coastal Carolina says we come to you to lead our search, to learn, to reach beyond ourselves. The first lines of that alma mater are so critical to a student walking on our campus saying, I've come to you. And so coming and allowing us to be part of that journey, that's a special decision. That's a special choice. And for them
Yeah.
to choose Coastal to do that, the students that I get to interact with working at Coastal Carolina University undoubtedly are out changing the world, both while they're here and afterwards. That is key, is the student that chooses Coastal is the student that wants to grow. They want to learn, and I love that above anything.
Hmm.
You
And
know, like April, can I just regress a little bit about your student population, both national and international, and so forth? Um, uh, what I noticed that there's constant building going on the dormitories, which means that you're getting ready to accommodate not just local students, but out of state. Um, is that uniformly 100% occupant during the course of the year? Or do you have enough dormitories?
Thanks, Mr. McQueen. I appreciate that question. The university has actually not built a new residence hall since 2015. The last residence hall was finished in 2015. That's our new student housing that is situated for our freshmen. Our freshmen live on main campus, and then our upperclassmen students live in University Place, which is on Jackson Bluff Road, right across from main campus down 544. We have not purchased or built any new residence halls since 2015. And those residence halls are typically operate somewhere between the 90 to 98% occupied with our students. Our students in their first and second year are required to live on campus. So there is a live on requirement for first and second year students. And those are the students. The first year students are on main campus. The second year students are in University Place. And then our juniors and seniors that choose to live on campus have the opportunity to live in University Place as well. But a lot of the apartment communities that may be up and down 544 or on 501, those apartment communities are privately managed and owned. So those are outside companies that come in and then choose to build around the university. And those are not affiliated with the university, nor are they required to get the university's permission to build. But our
Yeah.
actual
Okay.
last build on campus was 2015.
hmm.
Okay. So even though they target students, but they allow anybody to get apartments there, or even though
I would have to
it's
defer that question to the management of
oh
those the management of
okay.
those properties.
Okay, yeah, that's good. What is the most popular curriculum at Coastal?
Most popular is most definitely marine science. Marine science is the program that oftentimes people see as kind of the more prominent program at Coastal. We also, one of the other more unique as well, is our professional golf management program, our PGM program on campus that works to prepare students to be head golf pros as well. So our most popular is marine science. Our science college is our largest academic college on campus, which houses our sciences, and so that is our most popular.
Well, anyone who remembers CCU from back in the day, will attest to the fact that that makes sense for the marine science program to be the most popular, especially with our proximity to the ocean and lakes and marshes and things like that. So,
And
But
how
that's
many?
interesting that it's interesting that it's still like the probably the most popular.
And how many institutions do you know that own their own island, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
We have Wavey's Island that students can go out and get that hands-on experience with, which is a fantastic opportunity for students to be able to kind of experience it in that way, which is incredibly positive.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow.
Well,
Well,
Travis,
Travis,
Edward, if you don't have anything else, this has been an amazing conversation, and it's
Yes.
great to hear of the initiatives that you have going on at CCU, and congratulations to you, the administration. Of course, the college should be extremely proud of the athletic program. You're right; it has grown by leaps and bounds, over the years, and so I'm sure there's
Yeah,
much
it's
much to look
amazing
forward to.
for a historic bowl win, and we are in such a great place. We have a fantastic new president that was inaugurated last week as president. He has such a vision for this institution that not only is for Coastal, but his vision is about the community. His vision is about creating a space where the community is able to see Coastal as their university, and I'm so very excited to work in this capacity with him as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, we had gotten a piece of that on his last visit to our program. Yeah. Great. Yeah. So, looks like we're coming to an end here.
Well, Travis, thank you for being with us tonight. Brother Edward, do you want to, go into some community announcements after we let Travis go and prepare for Santa?
Yeah, if you got some, he's preparing for Santa.
And I'm going to bring in a piece of Travis's personal life. What's the pup getting for Christmas?
Charlie the pup already has all of his toys under the tree. So
Okay,
he's
awesome.
got 2 bark boxes and a whole bunch of else. So it'll be an
My
exciting
goodness.
time for him, I think.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure.
Bark box.
Isn't that cute? A bark box. That is too cute. Well, Travis, thank you for being with us tonight. It was certainly
Thank
a pleasure,
you.
as always.
Always, man. And
Thank
I hope
you.
to have you back.
And
Hope to have you back.
April, you let me know when we can grab lunch.
Ooh, okay, Travi. I'll again an inside. Woo! That was yeah. We might as well go ahead and tell everybody. I'm trying to keep it brief. Travis and I are, of course, higher ed colleagues, and we were going to meet to talk about the same types of things we talked about tonight. And we set up a time to meet. However, I did not have the date right on my calendar and was at the restaurant waiting on Travis and calling and like, why aren't you here? Well, it was the wrong day. And not only that, it was CCU move-in. And so Travis was like, nah, this is all wrong. So it happened how many times?
I think it happened a few times. It did happen
a few times, but
until we were actually able to make it happen, which was great.
Exactly. So I still owe you though, because I in my mind, he just stood me up. He's just that busy. He stood me up. But it's always great to have a colleague like you, and especially, of course, a lot of people don't know that I'm not in higher ed anymore, but now they do. But when we were working together in higher ed, it was always a pleasure to work with Travis and to definitely be able to share as neighbors, great information about education and to work together on initiatives. So continued success, my friend. Lots of best wishes.
Same to you,
in
my
2022. Friend. Yeah, absolutely.
We should reiterate about the appearance of Miss Melissa Harris Perry coming on.
Oh yes, absolutely.
January 22nd, right? 6 p.m.
That's correct.
And what part?
We're on campus.
We're on campus.
It'll be at Wheelwright Auditorium at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Awesome.
And tickets can be obtained by contacting ticketing and patron services. Right. And so if you just type in tickets on that website where we were able to see the search bar, that can take them directly to tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, thank you so much, Travis. And again, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for the honor of being here.
All
right. Our pleasure, man. Our pleasure.
All right.
We'll have you back.
Yes, so Brother Edward, that was a great conversation with Travis, as usual.
Yeah, really. I hate saying this word after each broadcast that we had. Like the time is up. Yeah, I don't like saying, I don't like, especially when it's getting good. You know, and have more things to really want to ask people. And we've had some really interesting guests on our program, very very interesting guests. But anyway, it's 8:10, and to our viewers, we thank you
So
all
is
so
this
much.
technically our last broadcast before the new year?
Yes, and the changes that we're contemplating, as you and I have discussed, be on Tuesday. The next one is January 6th, I believe. Is that a Tuesday? Yeah, January 6th. And from then on, we will commence to have our broadcast every Tuesday at the same time, 7 p.m.
Okay, so basically, again, we're moving to Tuesday nights.
Tuesday night.
Starting in January on January
yes.
6th. And
Right.
So
we have to grow.
we
We have to grow, right?
Yeah, try something
Okay.
new in 2022.
Yeah, we got to grow.
Yeah,
we got to grow.
yeah.
Okay.
So we'll try Tuesday nights at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
If you have any topics or issues or things that you would like for us to address on the broadcast, of course, you can reach out to either one of us, and we will certainly research the topics and try to find some great guests to come on and speak on these topics. And we invite you, as always, the community, to be a part of that, to be engaged and involved in these discussions. So we just want to thank everyone for a wonderful 2021 year. We made it through COVID.
Right.
We're still here. We're still pushing forward, and great things to come next year. Another thing that we've talked about as far as a community initiative is to try and get more community involvement in the broadcast. So we've got another idea that we're working on, and it involves trying to locate some and identify some correspondents around the area. And so if you're interested in being a part of our broadcast, please be in touch with Brother Edward. And
you can be a reporter from Bucksport. You can be a reporter from Burgess. You can be a reporter from Myrtle Beach. Signing on, signing off.
That's right. That's right. So go to the World Community Magazine's website, and that's wcmagazine.net, and we'll post some information about it. And, I think it'll be a great way to involve the community in the broadcast, and to have correspondents who are actually bringing in the news from all over the area, because we're just two people. We can't possibly cover everything.
Can't cover everything.
Yeah, even though Brother Edward does a beautiful job of collecting the information in the news in World Community Magazine, it's a lot of work. And so, it would be great to add some contributors to the broadcast on Tuesday nights, and also to the magazine. So if you're interested, go to wcmmagazine.net, and we'll post some information, and, just send us a message through the website and let us know that you're interested, or you can go to our Facebook page and message us, and, we'll talk to you about joining the team. That's basically it.
And look, and if you want to be compensated, we'll do that. Okay. We'll
all right, Brother Ed, you might want to keep.
We're recruiting.
We are recruiting, but those should be individual conversations. So.
Before we go, April, let the audience know about our the latest edition, which you flashed on last week, of the World Community Magazine. I want you all to see where April started off from.
How long have I been part of this?
Hey, 2011, April.
Oh my goodness, are you kidding me?
2011. I think it's 2012. Yeah, 2012.
Was it? 2012 or 2013.
But we have photos. That's when we began taking photos.
Wow, 8 years, almost 9 years already.
At
time flies.
At WPJS, and you can see them. A lot of our photos that we took, not chronologically, but starting way back in the magazine. I think it's on page 13 and 14. So we tried to just show you everything as much as possible. And April, you haven't changed.
Hey, I want to say it. I should. No, I have to thank my mom and dad for these good genes. and just actually putting God first and
Yeah,
praying for healing and strengthening in my body and my mind, and
absolutely.
also the
Absolutely.
pursuit of peace every single day. You have
Yeah,
nothing if you do not have peace of mind. And
that's right.
but I'm very fortunate, and I just thank everyone for the support over the years. It has been a tremendous experience being with Brother Edward and Sister Joella, and when we were in the WPJS radio station with PJ Parrish,
Right.
it was like a dream come true. Actually, it was that if you ever wanted to be something that you had on your bucket list or on your list of goals, working in radio was one of those things. And Brother Edward and Sister Joella gave me that opportunity as a guest on the show, and then turned into a co-host spot. And I have enjoyed it. I really have. And so,
what you learn from that? See, as you came on as a guest, and then you were spotted. Okay, that means it's your magnetism. No.
Well, thank you.
It's your magnetism.
Well, thank you.
One day we'll hear from some of our viewers about that too. But anyway, to our viewers, thank you all so much for tuning in and we really appreciate that. We had a good conversation with our guest this evening, and in April. So we'll see you next week. Not next week, January 6th. I think it's January 6th.
Yeah.
Next year.
Next year.
And it's on a Tuesday.
Woo.
And it's on a Tuesday. Okay. Say it again. Well, of course, we're gonna elaborate on the communication a little bit better by sending out some emails to our data bank using our data bank, and on Facebook too. I guess you'll have them on.
Actually, the first Tuesday in January is January 4th.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. January 4th.
January 4th. Yep. That's the first
All right.
Tuesday. All right.
We'll do that. So God bless.
God bless everyone. Have a wonderful Christmas and Happy New Year. Stay safe. And we'll see you in 2022.
If you need to stay inside because of COVID, please do so. I mean, you got to get through this thing.
Please remain cautious. Okay. Yeah, please remain vigilant.
Keep your mask on. Keep your mask on. All right.
Absolutely.
Good night.
Right. Okay. Have a good one.
All right. Bye.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner.